You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast, a podcast by diehard fans for fans. Mark covers all things Penn State football and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as anything related to the sports and fitness world. Tune in weekly to listen to a couple of dedicated fans talk about these topics without filters. Thank you for listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
Ready, man. Steelers win. Thank God.
Man! Oh, man. Glory me, oh, happy day.
Yeah, man, that was nerve-wracking, and, you know, after Russ threw that interception, I thought, man, they're going to blow this somehow. I mean, the offense did what they had to do, but, man, that was a horrible – the only thing that was good about that offense was the running game. Najee Harris is a freak of nature. So they got Najee 63 yards, Jaylen Warren 41. No rushing touchdowns. Russ had a pretty bad game. Got me 6 fantasy points. But didn't have a single touchdown, man. And the Ravens had 2. And, I mean, you know, the defense pulled through, obviously. But the offense, I'm not going to say it's, like, concerning. But they... You know, Penn State did the Penn State treatment, did not show up whatsoever, which is not good. But, yeah, man, they got the win, and, you know, we're officially Super Bowl contenders, in my opinion, officially. There's no way that we're not. And, you know, looking at the standings after this week, we're going to be up there top 4, top 5 in the NFL. So, I don't know if it's Arthur Smith or what, but man, that was just a horrendous performance by the offense in terms of the play calling, getting into the red zone and not scoring. I mean, how many times are they in the red zone today and didn't score?
Pretty much
Any
everyone,
idea?
because we didn't score a single touchdown. I know they went 0 for 4 in the red zone, in the sense like no touchdowns, 4 field goals. But, dude, can we just anoint Chris Boswell as the greatest kicker in Steelers history? I mean, it's got to be close now. Like, that kid, I mean, it was like, how can he do what he does on a daily basis? And, I mean, if you watch the last kick he made, it corkscrewed in. Like, I'm watching the uprights, and I'm watching that ball start like around here, and it came back in the middle. Like it was gonna, and then it came back in. Dude, I can't explain how that guy was able to do like what 30, 47, 57, 50, 36, 52. I mean, dude, I named all of his kicks pretty much. I mean, six. You had 2 touchdowns given up by the Ravens. And if I told you that we didn't score a single touchdown and they scored 2 on us, how do you not go, well, we lost that game? But we didn't, because the special teams is absolutely one of the most special teams in all of the NFL. They have been doing some remarkable things between blocking kicks and returning balls, kicking them through the uprights, and it is truly an all group effort with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dude, I mean, between defense just constantly giving you hope that they're not going to break. Because, dude, between Henry and Lamar, I mean, they were running all over the place, and they were getting enough first downs to do something. But in the end, it was all a defensive stop. We had big sacks happen when we needed. And, I mean, the Ravens penalized themselves out of the equation, I mean, half the time. So, dude, it's just another classic Ravens-Steelers game that you just never can predict. You and I were talking about how we can try our darndest to score this game, and there's no way you're ever going to get the right one. I mean, I could not be happier for Chris Boswell and the special teams unit. This is what it's all about, dude. When you say, are we one of the best teams in the NFL based on that offensive performance? Heck no. But as an entire team, when you factor in offense, defense, special teams, and everything, the Steelers have got to be, as of right now, the most battle-tested team right now. Because going into the Commanders on the road and getting that win squeaked out and coming home for just everyone's matchup of the year, pretty much, we all knew that this was going to be smash mouth football. There was a lot of bickering and back and forth every time. Like, it never fails. And yeah, there was a huge moment I remember in this game where Patrick Queen had a bad hold and was like, I can't believe you got that penalty on you, dude. And then it forced the touchdown to happen. And that we were up like, what, 7-12 but at that point, like, so it was really close still. And then there was another big moment where they were going to drive, and Patrick Queen redeemed himself by getting the recovery for the fumble. Dude, the defense was electric. 2 forced fumbles, an interception, 2 sacks. They only gave up truly 10 points. I know that the 6 points or the 1 touchdown at the end, that stings, but it's like they were for the entire game holding that team just to nothing. And Lamar Jackson, guy, you talk about what we proved. I think the Ravens also kind of got their clarification too. You don't want to say ill will about anyone, but dude, he can't beat us. He can't beat Mike Tomlin. I don't know if it's between Mike Tomlin or the Steelers, whatever, but Lamar Jackson is owned by us and the Chiefs. I know he has the same record as us, so you can do whatever you want in the entire league. It's like Penn State, almost, actually. Think about that. The Ravens are actually like the Penn State Nittany Lions. They destroy everyone else. But we and the Chiefs, unfortunately, are Ohio State and Michigan. Like, we face them, we can't beat them. Like, it's just in our heads that we are just going to lose. I hate that we are the other comparison of either Ohio State or Michigan. I don't want either one, but I'm just saying that is really what it is like right now for the Baltimore Ravens. They are Penn State, and us and the Chiefs are Ohio State and Michigan. They just cannot find a way to win.
Jason Oweh for the Ravens had 2.5 sacks. That's a Penn State guy. Diesel Isaac was in there at some point too. But just in general, we had Broderick Jones had a terrible game in terms of he was getting penalties left and right, and he kept getting flags thrown on him for fighting and stuff. But you look at that field in general. It's all Georgia, Alabama, Penn State. All those players, like all those big time players, were pretty much from like Georgia and Alabama. A lot of Georgia and Alabama guys going at it, but yeah, man. Najee Bama. George Pickens, Bama, Darnell Washington, or George Pickens, Georgia, Darnell Washington, Georgia, Najee Bama, Derrick Henry, Bama, Lamar Jackson's
Louisville.
Freaking Louisville. But man, all Big Ten and SEC on that field.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Broderick Jones, like at one point I was like, pull him out because he kept getting penalties from fighting, penalties from holding. They're throwing flags on him all day. And he had, there was a lot of laundry on the field because of him. But they need to make him do the laundry this week since he had so much on the ground. I'm telling you, man, holy crap. We had quite a few penalties, and there was just a lot of fighting and a lot of back and forth. But, we pull it out, thank God. We're 8-2, and looking at the standings as we were talking about, I have the Red Zone and Baltimore on right now, but just overall, man, looking at the kind of the standings on everything, we are. Let's see here, we're now 8-2. The Ravens are 7-4, so. Our schedule is hard going forward, but this is a big statement win. And I hope that, being that it's the NFL and it's the Steelers and they have Russell Wilson now, they can learn and produce points, because with Kenny Pickett, nothing was going to change. Like, that guy, you weren't changing anything. He's not good enough to do that. Russell Wilson is good enough. And they actually used Justin Fields when they should have, like the Penn State should. I mean, the Penn State and the Steelers are so alike. I mean, except they win when they need to. They win this big game. I mean, if Penn State won against Ohio State, I mean, Pennsylvania, the freaking state would burn down, honestly. From like Central PA to the left, it would be just burning down because of the Steelers and Penn State. But Pennsylvania football is really good right now, including the Eagles, even though we hate them. But so again, man, we did our part. We're 8-2. We're at Cleveland on Thursday, and that's a big game because it's kind of a trap game. We should win. I don't know. I didn't even see who Cleveland plays or if they have a bye. I really don't care.
No, they got torched by the Saints.
Did they?
Yeah,
okay.
like 34-16 or something like that. Yeah, it was a beatdown.
So the Browns are 2-8, Bengals are 4-6, Ravens 7-4, Steelers 8-2. So again, the Bills lose, we're ahead of them. If the Bills win, we're slightly behind them.
Yep.
Well, actually, we're the same because they look at losses. And then if the Chiefs lose, they don't move at all. But the Chargers, who do they play today?
They play the Bengals. This is the big Sunday night game.
Well, okay, so they must not have changed the records of these other teams yet, because I could have sworn the Chargers were 6-3 earlier. They changed our record.
They play tonight. Yeah, they play tonight, Sunday night. The Chargers play the Bengals Sunday night. Yeah, 8:00.
Okay.
They haven't played yet.
Chargers. Okay.
Yeah, right, they play tonight.
But yeah, I mean that puts us at the Lions are 9-1. David Montgomery scored me a ton of points today.
Holy crap, dude! I knew they were going to beat Jacksonville, but holy crap! Lions didn't leave anything on that carcass. They freaking licked that thing bone dry.
Yep. So we got Detroit, Philly, Kansas City, us, and the Bills. That's 5 teams right there. And I mean, in terms of power rankings, man, because of our offense, we're probably 5th. But I don't care about power rankings. I'm just saying, like, in terms of the way the NFL lines up right now, and you're right, we're probably looking at a 3 seed right now. But we just, even if we lose who we think we'll lose to, but I mean, our schedule going forward, man, it's going to be tough. But I think we can do it. The offense just
right. Do me a favor. Go back to the standings. I want to point something out.
All right.
So you look at the AFC as a whole, like all the other teams. I want you to go to points allowed and just look at that. Like you see all the other teams in the AFC right now. Yep. You look at anyone else, there's maybe 1 or 2 other teams that has that many points given up. And the Chiefs right now, they're playing the Bills, and they are going to be giving up at least, 20, 30 points at least. So we will have less than them. It's a question of, now the Chargers, they would have to give up like 50 tonight for us to have the lowest differential in the AFC. But I'm saying defensively, dude, they have answered pretty much every call. Like, you look at our 2 losses, the Colts always play us tough, and we somehow can't get over them, and we let them score 27 points. That is the largest point amount we have given up all season. And we lost to the Cowboys because, we had one play left in the 4th down. Like, it was the last seconds of the play. They won on the last play of the game, and, it was not good. So, I mean, if you take that one bad loss away, you're looking at 9-1 instead of 8-2. I mean, it's the truth. Like they definitely have shown so much strength and so much battle-tested guys. Like, you look at how they handled the Ravens, dude. I mean, it was impressive to watch them do that defensively. Now, again, if I am a team like Philadelphia, if I'm a team like Kansas City who still has to play me, I mean, it's like, We just stopped the best offensive scoring team in the NFL. We held them to 16. We did not give up half of what they normally average. What do they average? 30, 32 points a game? We let them get half that. That is a statement right there. That's telling you the Steelers are no joke defensively. Now, as far as the offense goes, I have two theories I'm going to throw out. Number one, the Steelers just might be a very arrogant team. I mean, I love this team to death, but they might just be a very arrogant team because they know that the Ravens are built to beat you with like the run defense. So perhaps Tomlin and company were just like, oh, you think you're going to beat us with what you're good at? Like they just kept charging on them between Najee and Jalen. I mean, they just wouldn't let it up. And I'm just like, God dang, dude, like, are you not going to like make some big play downfield? And they just never really ran plays like that, dude. They were conservative. I just think that it was just more about we want to prove that we can beat you with the best thing you've got. I mean, that's just the attitude. It just comes off because you see how they played today. It's just there's a lot of evidence that would support that. And number two, it could be very well that they just wanted, again, to be kind of conservative with Russ, or Russ wanted to be conservative with the play calling. Like, because again, you watched how they played the game. I think you saw maybe 3 or 4 deep passes total. Like he didn't really look for that a whole lot. And I don't think they connected. I think it was like the 2 big ones. Naturally, the George Pickens, that was like a 30, 40-yard bomb. That was huge. That was so needed for that field goal. You don't have that play, we didn't get a field goal kick there. So, I mean, little things like that. Again, you have to be like a psychic to know how it was going to go down for each drive. But the Steelers just trusted them to have enough in them to just let Boz just kick field goals all day long. It absolutely is astonishing how we got out of that game with 6 field goals and no touchdowns. Just one of those is a touchdown. This isn't even a game. Like this, it's the truth. Like they absolutely had an amazing statement to say, like, we can beat you with 18 points and 6. Like we did that against the Falcons this year. Like that was like so crazy to think. We now have 2 games in this season where we did not score a touchdown and won. How many teams can say that? That is pretty remarkable from the defensive side.
Yeah. Well, just looking at the power rankings, man, like we're 8th or 9th, but after today, I mean, we're going to be up there. And as I said, going forward, I mean, it's going to be a just... and I don't count the Vikings because I don't think they're legitimate. They have Sam Darnold as their quarterback. But yeah, just going forward, you know, we got just to pick this out right now. Mm-hmm. I think the Browns are a win. Bengals should be a win. Browns a win again. Eagles, we'll just say a loss. Ravens maybe a loss. So 1, 2, and then 3. So that would be 12-5, as we said, at worst, I think.
Yeah.
As long as we stay healthy too, knock on wood. But you know, 12-5 at worst. But I do think at the end of this whole run, we're gonna be like 14-3 total. I think we win or lose one more game. We can beat the Eagles. Our defense can hold them. It just comes down to our offense, man. I mean, there's something going on. Like Arthur Smith, the execution in the red zone is absolutely horrendous. I know it's first year for both of them, but it's terrible. And leaving points on the board like Penn State does, that's how you lose games. And we did that, but we pulled it out. So, and Peyton Wilson, I mean, that interception was
turnover.
just...
Oh, my gosh. Oh, incredible turnover. Wow. Again, I know that...
It's like that Ohio State kid.
I mean, listen, you're looking at how, again, this is why I think the Steelers are one of the best teams in the NFL, top 3, top 5, because, again, if that happens to any other team, then you don't win that game. Like, that would happen. Now, again, you saw the turnovers for the Detroit Lions. Like, you had giving up 5 turnovers, and the Texans couldn't score really on any of them or didn't do anything, capitalize or nothing, and you still lost that game. And how many did we have? We had 2 turnovers. We had an interception, 3 turnovers total. I mean, that's pretty darn incredible. I mean, for them to not be able to capitalize on any of those opportunities and still win. I mean, that's what we do, dude. I mean, we are one of the ugliest winning teams in the history of the NFL, especially with this kind of matchup. But because it's completely out of it now, we got through that gauntlet. You know, it's like those big movie scenes, you know, where the hero went through the trench and you didn't see them come back out. You see that one hand come over and you saw they survived. Like, that's pretty much what we just went through. Like, the hero just went from the one side of the bridge to the other, and it completely collapsed on everyone, and he still hung on and crawled out from the other side. And now, again, like you said, we have the Browns, we have the Bengals. They know how to play us tough defensively, but I'd like to think that we're going to have a little bit more success against their game plan as opposed to the Ravens. Because, again, dude, Baltimore, John Harbaugh, that is a team that will get you ready for every situation. And again, we kept toe-to-toe. Like, we kept them in it because we couldn't score touchdowns, but we didn't allow them to score a touchdown in the most important moments because we turned it over. We figured out a way to get it back. Again, that's just what good teams do. That's what great teams do. That's what elite teams do. They find ways to win. It doesn't have to be pretty. And now we're moving on to teams that we should win. Now, again, when we play a team like Philadelphia, my cousins are big Eagles fans, bud. Can you imagine if we go into that game, we're 10-2, and they're like 10-2 as well? I don't think that's ever happened in the history of them meeting from across the side of the state. You know, it would be so epic is if Pennsylvania were just to call the NFL and say, hey, you know, the Eagles and the Steelers, you know, what's in the middle? Like, you know, there's a place, you know, in the middle of the state where we could maybe house like how big of a crowd we're going to need for a game like that. I mean, dude, I would love nothing more than to have them just rent out Beaver Stadium at Penn State and just let them play that game in that stadium. That would be just the greatest like thing ever. Could you imagine? Like Steelers and Eagles all coming together. I mean, it would hold everybody because both stadiums aren't as big as Beaver Stadium probably together. I mean, it would just be epic. So I so am happy about these results, dude. Again, you can't say more good things when you win in that sense. Like, it doesn't matter. We won. This looked bad. Who cares? We won because you just got through it. You know, you take your lumps with everything. I just know that they are the best team right now in the AFC North for sure. And now we just have to see if we ever play the Chiefs, if we play the Bills, could we find a way to do it to them too? So that's the last test. And then we are Super Bowl bound.
Yeah. Yeah, we have, again, it's the Ravens, and the Bengals will always give us a hard time. But it's the Ravens, Eagles, and Chiefs. That's pretty much what we're looking at going forward. So, yeah, we got to wait and see how it plays out. But, man, this win today cannot be understated. Just how important it was and just how big it was. I mean, we beat the Ravens head-to-head. Their offense is an absolute juggernaut, and we just beat them. That's it. I don't know what else to say. I mean, we beat them, and we won in convincing fashion. And just overall, in the sense that the defense did well, the offense did enough to win. I mean, again, Chris Boswell's second time of the year has 6 field goals. And my brother has Chris Boswell as his kicker, and both times I've played him. Yeah, and both times I've played him, Chris Boswell had 6 field goals. So literally both times I've played against my brother in fantasy, Chris Boswell had 6 field goals. That equates to, let me see, well, in my league, it's, 24 points, man, for a kicker. And Justin Tucker, I had Justin Tucker as my kicker. He had 4 points. He had a horrible game, which is awesome to see against us because it came down to 2 points. But yeah, so you know, overall, man, it's a great game, And thank God we have Boswell because he hit so many good field goals. He had a 57-yarder again.
Yep.
I mean, he's got to be the best kicker in the NFL right now. There's no doubt about that. He's a Pro Bowler for sure, probably all pro. And
Yep.
then, I mean, he saved us multiple times this year, so thank God for that. But man, if we just could get it going on offense, and that is a problem. Like they need to address that very, very
I
quickly,
agree.
and they need to utilize Justin Fields more, like Bo Prabula. I mean, they have to utilize him in more opportunities, and he almost screwed us in that game. I mean, he literally could have totally screwed us in that game, and
Yep.
I don't know what he was doing, what he was thinking, but he literally had the first down. He slid. It's like, dude, you have to know where you're at on the field. That is inexcusable. That is horrible.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he needs to I don't know, pay Mike Tomlin like 10 grand. Just be like, here's I'm sorry. Here's for your heart surgery that you may need after this game and what I just did. So
hmm
like holy crap.
Listen. I think I don't know how much shenanigans go on in locker rooms, but I feel like when it's shower time, I think everybody needs to kind of get a snap of the wet towel train going with him or something. I don't know what else to say about it, dude. I just feel like there needs to be some punishment for sure, but it's definitely something that you can't really explain again with this game. I'm just saying maybe it's just this game. If it continues after this week, I have no doubt that this will be a problem with the playoffs, because again, then we're going into teams that have everything battle tested themselves getting to the playoffs. Like, I know the Steelers are just so remarkable, dude. I don't know of any other team that is, without the exception of the Chiefs or the Lions, maybe, because again, how many teams do you know would have this kind of result and win? Like, that is something you just don't see from any other NFL team, with except for the three I just mentioned. So, yeah, I knew the minute they brought him in that they were going to do a run play, and I saw how much of a hole he had. And then I watched him go down, and I remember seeing where that knee was. And I was like, there was once a time where Myles Garrett beat Mason Rudolph with his helmet. If there was a team participation moment that needed to go down, that would have been for me. I would not have been upset at all if everyone on the offensive line just ripped their helmets off, smash and smash. Because I mean, how do you not know?
I mean, that's
I'm not a violent
thing
person.
about that.
I have to point that I'm not a violent person, but I'm just saying that there are times where you have thoughts in your head where you wonder where it comes from. I mean,
well, the thing about that is the fact that Myles Garrett swung his helmet at Mason Rudolph, which even as Steelers fans were like, oh well, it's Mason Rudolph, but he's on our team, so he could have killed him. I mean, you can kill if you swing a helmet at someone's head, you can kill them. So it's like that was pretty serious what he did.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
don't
dude,
know.
I
don't remember what kind of fines there were. There had to be fines. But
I just
bad.
remember the end of that game. I remember we lost that game. I remember that. And I remember Rudolph had the audacity to bring him down or something. And next thing I know, Myles Garrett just pulls himself up. And I just watch him pick up Mason Rudolph like he was a scarecrow. I am like, Mason Rudolph is 250, 6'4" or 5. He is a tall, big guy. And he just picked him up. I'm like, God dang, dude, that is a scary beast of a guy. Can you imagine if there was a guy that had Myles Garrett's size and Henry Davis's speed? That guy would pretty much run through walls. It would be a juggernaut. I mean,
Derrick Henry.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you had Myles Garrett and Derrick Henry fused into one human being, I would never want to get in that guy's way because he'd kill me. But yeah, I like to chalk it up to maybe this was just today's games issues with the offense. Again, they haven't really had one of these all season. Up until this point, Russell Wilson and them were doing some spectacular things with the offense. And again, I think that it had something to do with we just wanted to win a certain way, and we did. And it was man, I don't know how gutsy of a performance you can get from a team, but again, all I saw in comments all over Facebook was, you can't win games just by kicking field goals. Can't say that anymore.
Yeah,
you can't. Because we've had 2 this year. You take those 2 games away, we're 6-4 as opposed to 8-2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that makes all the difference in the world, dudes. Like, you talk about offense having problems. Defense showed up in every facet. The special teams did every single thing they could to make this a winnable game, and we did. Like, again, it's a team sport, and you have to rely on every side. And today it took 2 out of 3. I mean, yeah, the offense had their problems.
Yeah. I swear going forward, man, as soon as they get into the red zone, if they don't do option read with Justin Fields, then they don't want to win. Because he should be a running back. Justin Fields, I've said it for years now, he should be a running back. He's so fast. When you get into the red zone, run him, utilize him in some way. I don't care if it's a sweep, an option, a quarterback sneak straight up the gut. I don't care. You need to utilize him, and they could have at least had 1 touchdown today with him if
that's
they
true.
used him. So please use him more. They have to. I mean, the red zone performance today was so pathetic. And if we lost, man, like that would have been, first of all, really bad. Second of all, it would have just been like, it would have been the epitome of just bad play calling. And when you get into that situation, you have to execute in the red zone. When you don't, it loses you games. And we easily should have lost this game because of that. So I don't understand what their kind of motive was there or what they were trying to do, but I mean that was just that's not good what they did. It's not good that it played out that way.
Right.
And that's it. I mean
well, I mean, like, so you're absolutely right about Justin Fields. I mean, every time there seems like there could be some big play that could go down with legs, it's like, I mean, listen, Russell Wilson's 35. He's going to be 36. I mean, he's old. I mean, he is an old quarterback, so he can still play. He looks fine. But, yeah, when you have a guy who's 25, 26 who can just run for days, I mean, why don't you use that? Utilize it more. Because, again, I don't know if it's just, again, it's just an arrogant thing. I don't know. I can't explain any more than that in the sense, like, I wish there was other ways I could come up with an explanation as to why, but it's like, man, they seem like they just want to do it just to prove that they're right about it. And no other way can make them change their mind. You know, it is that way. And I know Tomlin to be that guy. So it seems like we have all the right ways of winning in the sense like we still win no matter what. Like that's the thing. Like you can argue it till the cows come home, but at the end we win the games. So the only reason why we lost the Colt game was because we were down 17-0. I don't care how good you want to try to be on defense after that. The offense has to be able to score 4 or 5 touchdowns, and that was when Justin Fields was utilized. And we didn't have Russ at the time. I mean, Russ could have probably thrown a little better passing game in that game. And again, we utilized Justin Fields and his way of how he plays quarterback, and he's not a passer. And, today, Russell Wilson, they just limited him. Like, he only had 200 passing yards, and I think he passed for 30-some attempts or 32 or whatever it was. But, dude, it just seems like they would rather do this, to prove a point. And they got through it. Again, like they found their way out of that. So they feel like Steelers for darn sure today because they stole that win for sure.
They did. Yeah, I mean, they pulled it out, man. At the end of the day, they pulled it out. They finally got it done. I mean, this is like it was before the Jets game, I went on my rant about why I've been so demoralized as a Steelers fan. And then they do this. I mean, holy crap, dude. Like, they've totally turned it around, and now we're literally Super Bowl contenders, and we have a legitimate shot at making a deep playoff run, getting a good seed. I mean, we're looking at playing like a low seed team, and I think we can win. But the offense at the end of this game, at the end of this weekend, know as Steelers fans is going forward, the offense has to figure it out. They have to. They cannot keep doing this. And if they do, then we're good. But if they don't, man, I mean, this is not going to be healthy for us going forward. Not only for fans, but just like you have to be better on offense. You have to execute in the red zone. You have to score at least one touchdown. I mean, my goodness. So it's just that part is pretty concerning because this Ravens defense ranks low. Now it isn't when it comes to rivalry games, sometimes you have to like take everything and throw it out the window and say it literally could have been 3-2 and we would have been fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a little different too because it's clearly a bitter rivalry and there's a lot of chippiness going on. But still this offense has to turn it around and I hope they make a statement against the Browns. These teams that they're playing that they can score points on, I hope they make a statement, especially the Bengals. They can do it against the Bengals because their defense isn't good either. But
here's the thing, dude. But you saw what they did against the Ravens twice, though. Just really put that in perspective. I mean, we can play the same way we can with Cleveland. We can play the same way with Baltimore. You cannot do it against Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is a legitimate pass it 300, 350, 400 yards a game guy. He can turn it on whenever he feels like it. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not saying he will smoke the cornerbacks and, guys like Joey Porter, whatever. But I'm telling you right now, if that team had 3 or 4 players like on defense, like to replace what their issues are defensively, if they just replace those guys with dudes who know how to play, the Cincinnati Bengals would be going to the Super Bowl. Like, I'm telling you, that team is a Super Bowl team with Joe Burrow at the helm, and when they got it all working, you saw what they did, dude. What was it? It was 32-30 the first game, and it was 35-34 the second game against the Ravens. I mean, they scorched their defense like it was nothing. I'm not saying they'll do the same thing against the Steelers, dude, but when we play Cincinnati, that is the one I will be like, oh, God, now I really need Russ to give me a 30, 40-point game from him now. Like, they can't afford to not score that many points because they will know how to find a way to score.
Yeah, you're right, man. And I actually had, and I'll just say this publicly, a lot of people will probably laugh about it, but I traded Joe Burrow for Keon Coleman because he wasn't really performing for me that well. But you know who I have as my backup? Baker Mayfield. So I was good.
Yeah,
but,
true.
Since I traded him, Joe Burrow's had like 9 touchdowns, and Keon Coleman's been out. But I did that because Baker Mayfield overall been doing way better than Joe Burrow. So points wise, you know what I mean?
Well, again, okay, so all right, we'll throw this out there. Okay, in division games, I will say I'm scared of Joe Burrow. In division games, maybe not as a whole. Okay, you may have a point there. As a whole NFL scope, maybe he struggles against the NFC or
I agree with you. Yeah,
I'm just saying though, when it comes to
at all.
Right, but I'm saying when it comes to division games, Joe Burrow, I've always thought was the best quarterback in the AFC North. Now, again, what I saw from Russ, I mean, up until this point, I'm like, finally, the Steelers have an answer for Joe Burrow because Russ can do what he's doing. And today it was like, no, where'd it go? No, again, that's the Ravens. It's defense. It's division, dude. It's AFC North. I know they know how to find ways to pull back and forth. Like I told you, it's one big tug of war when it comes to these teams. Like, when was the last time? I think I looked it up. I think it was October 11th or October 1st of 2017 was the last time that the Steelers beat an AFC North team by 2 or 3 touchdowns. That's the last time. Yeah. It's been almost 7-8 years in the sense like Browns, Bengals, Ravens, always within a touchdown, maybe 10 points differential if we're lucky. Yeah, it's right. Insane how we have to play this division. We can't just go into it thinking, oh, well, they have a bad season this year. No. The Browns beat the Ravens. The Bengals almost beat the Ravens twice. It was that close. So when it comes to divisions, dude, you might as well spin a magic 8 ball, on a merry-go-round, try to listen to a fortune teller, upside down, cross-eyed. I mean, you're lucky if you can figure out any score to an AFC North division game.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Jared. So going forward, okay.
Yep.
Being that you're a diehard Steelers fan, that's why I have you on here. And being that you're a diehard Steelers fan, you know the Steelers well, and we're realistic on this podcast. We're not. I mean, sure, we're a little biased for our teams, but going forward, are we Super Bowl contenders? This year. I mean, can we win a Super Bowl this year?
Yes.
Think so?
Yes.
All
I
right,
can say
all
it
right.
with a little hesitation, but yes. Again, when the Ravens are one of the most premier teams in the NFL, like everyone was putting the Ravens in their top 1, 2, 3 spots, every single top 10 list all season long. And because of what you pointed out, they were one of the best offensive scoring teams in the NFL. And our defense shut it down. I mean, you had one blip, again, with the Colts, like one blip of a game because you let them score 27. It was garbage time because it was already 17 points they gave up in that one quarter. Like, that is the worst quarter we had all season. So, I mean, yeah, I have all the faith in the world that with the defense and the special teams being as buttoned up and as, battle tested as they have, like, you can't go through a game like this and not appreciate the good things that come from it. I mean, yes, the defense and the special teams bailed out the offensive issues. But again, winning solves a lot of problems. Again, you have to just look at it like, well, don't do it again, but we got through it. I mean, I know that the Chiefs will always find a way because Andy Reid, offensive coach, he will have plays that maybe the defense doesn't figure out. Sean McDermott, I think, is a defensive coach. I think. I don't know if he's offense or defense, but I'm pretty positive he is defense. But listen, you have some of the best offensive weapons between Josh Allen, James Cook. I just watched the guy just, pushed it through for the, Chiefs, through the Chiefs defense for a touchdown. It's 13-7 right now. The Bills are leading as of right now. I mean, there is a lot of great things in the AFC right now. And you're watching the two teams. Ironically, we're talking about the Steelers winning, but the two teams that are playing right now, these are the ones we have to figure out. And dude, again, Sunday night game, the Chargers and the Bengals. If the Bengals go out there, and they are in Los Angeles, this is not a home game for them. They're at Los Angeles. They go out there and put up like 30, 40 points against the Chargers defense. You have to realize that they'll be 5-6. They will not be mathematically eliminated from the season, and they will come out ablazing. They will be coming for every single team from the rest of the season. Because, again, they already gave up their 6 losses. So it's like, yeah, they had a lot of losses. Maybe they want to do a lot of winning now. I mean, they can turn it on whenever they feel like it, dude. Because, again, they still have great players. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, I mean, they don't have a run game like they used to because Joe Mixon's right now down in Houston. And right now, if Houston, did they win that game? I have to find that out.
Today?
Yes.
I'll look at the scores here.
Yeah.
Well, Houston plays tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yeah. I'm just saying, tomorrow night, Monday night game. So, if they find a way to win that game and make it look good, there's another team that's like, well, just pump the brake. I'm not saying we're not the third best team in the AFC right now, but I'm saying teams like the Bengals, teams like the Texans, they can go on tears. And if we face them in the playoffs, it's like, well, I know how I feel about it, but it's like, then you know what you've got to go through. So imagine if that were the case. If the Texans do get in through the playoffs, they would make them a 4th seed or 3rd at lowest because they are division winners, but we would be a division winner too. I just think it'd be again, like the Bengals. We may have to face them in the first round of the playoffs. And if we see how we play against them this year, I don't know how we'd fare, but I mean, it worries me a little to see what the Bengals do. If we win the game against the Bengals, like we did against today, like if it's low scoring and we find a way to win, dude, I will say we are easily the best team in the AFC. I'll even, regardless of what the outcome of this game is in front of me, I just feel like the Steelers just want everything to work right. And again, defensively and special teams, it's there. It's like you're at, like, again, you're at 90, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 for a lot of categories in your defense and your special teams. But the offensive line, we didn't really bring that up a whole lot today, but you brought up Broderick Jones. I mean, you can't make mistakes like that. You can't have issues with your play calling or your penalties. Like, you got to clean it up. So offensive line wise, and again, play calling, it's definitely the two glaring issues that the Steelers have. If you can figure those things out by the time you face the Bengals, which will be 2 weeks from now because we play the Browns of Thursday night football, then yeah, I can say without hesitation, dude, we are contenders for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and at one point last year, I thought with the way they're performing in the preseason with Kenny Pickett and like the way the defense was, I thought, with Kenny Pickett, we can win. But the combination of the coordinator and Kenny Pickett both, that was a horrible combination, and he was just not good. There's a reason he was a first-round pick, the only first-round quarterback in his draft, and then he's the backup now. But with this team now, do you think you think we can contend? Can the offense turn it around?
I mean, that's going to rely solely on the offensive line, dude. I mean, we did find great holes for Jalen and Najee to get a good run game, but it's like, I don't know, does Russ need the same amount of time like Ben did to, does he need 10, 12 seconds to throw out a pass? I mean, I don't know. They were just well covered today, and he just held on to the ball too long, and I just saw some sacks that didn't need to happen. I saw a lot of confusion where it's like, why did you have to bend down and I got to get out of trouble? But it's like they were holding and you could not get the throw off. And there are a lot of times where it's like, it does concern you that, those things do happen. But again, we did get out of this, they figured out a way. Everything else worked that got them out of those issues. So it's like, can you make these mistakes again? No. Do I think they will make those mistakes again? No. I don't think they'll make those mistakes again because that's how they wanted to play the Ravens. They found a way to win this game. They got out of it. I mean, I know we had a couple of guys leave with injuries. I don't know if they came back in the game, but I saw in some place Benton got hurt and Porter got hurt, but I know I saw Porter on the sideline, so I know he wasn't completely
Porter was okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about Benton, but it's little things like where you just got to take it as one game at a time. And it's like, guys, just, the house didn't burn down, but you were close. So, luckily the defense and the special teams brought their fire extinguishers and put it all out. That's just how it is. Like, don't do that again. I won't kill you, but don't do it again. It's like your kid, scolding.
Yeah. Well, if the offense can turn it around, and again, this is a rivalry game. It's a little different. I kind of put that out the window right now. But if they can turn it around and perform as they should, because if they don't, man, it's going to be really, really frustrating. But if they can do that, then we're legitimate contenders. And, I mean, if our offense can turn it around, like I said, we stay healthy, yeah, we're definitely contenders for sure. We can compete against anybody. But, Jared, that's all I got for today, man.
Me too, bud. I mean,
all right, we'll stay in touch.
Win, guys. It was great.
Amen to that, man. Amen to that. I've got my Franco Harris. Still got the tag on it. This will make this win for Franco. 50 years, man. 50 years of the Immaculate Reception. I was at that game before he died. I was at the game. He died right before the game, and we'll say that win was for Franco. So, but yeah, great win. Thank God we won 8-2. One of the best teams in the NFL, and we did what we were supposed to do, and we should be really happy about that. So, Jared, I will talk to you later, man. All right.
Points
We'll
We'll
stay in
short-lived
touch.
week, though. We play Thursday night, so
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Yes,
we'll
sir.
have to do.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Thursday we'll have to figure that out. We'll have to do like Steelers and Penn State pregame together, probably. So.
Yeah.
All right. All right, guys.
Yes,
Big
sir.
win. On to Thursday.
Yes. Here we go, Steelers.